Hey everyone, this is Amir and I'm going to share with you a super cool tool which I've been recently discovered. It's called LocalStack and it's AWS services emulator for your local machine. It helps you to really develop your Mule applications without connecting to the real AWS endpoints. And it's fully capable of all the different capabilities AWS is providing. So let's take a look what it is and how you can use it. Go to the browser and navigate to the URL localstack.cloud and you will be on the home page of LocalStack. From here, basically LocalStack provides different kind of features and provides different offerings you can utilize. It starts with the free version, which has around, I don't know, 10 to 15 services there to be used for free completely in a safely mocking environment. You can even go further and go for the pro subscription. Then you have additional AWS services like the Elastic Kubernetes services and so on. So you can utilize the Pro edition, or if you want to have a dedicated support, you can go even for the Enterprise edition. So the concept is super cool for smaller teams, just working with the basic functionality of AWS services. This is so simple to use and works also for MuleSoft. So let's see how you can utilize it for MuleSoft. First of all, let's go to the installation part. In order to get started, what you need to do is you need to install the LocalStack. So what I've been finding for me is easiest way is to go with the CLI. So you go to the CLI, make sure you have Python installed, pip installed, and Docker installed, and also make sure that your Docker is up and running. So your instance is started, and then you are ready to use it. So I've been installing this already on my local machine, so I'm not going to execute these commands. I will just start LocalStack and see how it works. And then we are going to connect it to MuleSoft Anypoint Studio with the connectors we have already for AWS. So we are going to utilize the AWS SQS connector for this video, but you can also use it with other connectors MuleSoft is providing, like the S3 connector. So let's go first of all into my command line, and on the top you can see I have two different windows open for my terminal. So I'm going to start my LocalStack on the top. So and wait a bit. Now you will see it is really spinning up a Docker image which is now running on a specific pod, and I can now start using it. So first of all, what I need to do is I need to make sure that this HTTP 000, which is localhost 4566 is open and available. In my case it is, the port is available, and now I can connect to it. So once LocalStack is started, the first thing you have to do is do the AWS configure. This is basically the configuration you need to have, and here you can write your access key, not the right one. Go for anything. So I will just go for Mule. My secret is also Mule. Region I will leave as is, and also the default output I will go for JSON. So leave as is. So this is it. So now I have provided my default configuration, and what I can do now is I can try to create S3 bucket. So basically what I need to do here is, let's go with AWS. And one more thing which I've done is I've defined an alias for AWS. Whenever AWS is called, I want it to redirect it to the endpoint URL, which is then my LocalStack URL called on localhost the port, and that's it. So whenever I'm going to use this command AWS, the endpoint is included. So just do it once like this, and that's it. And now I will try to connect to a S3 bucket. Let's go here for AWS S3. If I would not have done it with the alias, I always need to provide the endpoint. So let's say endpoint URL will be http :// localhost 4566 and S3 ls. So currently you can see there is nothing. S3 has been now started. And I can also do the same for SQS service. So let me find it where it is for the SQS service. Let's go to the LocalStack AWS services, and I would like to use the simple queue service. And here you can see there's also something called AWS local, where you don't have to provide the endpoint anymore, but I have anyway now mapped with alias, so I can create a simple queue now. So let's go back here and say AWS SQS create queue, provide the queue name SQ, and the queue name will be, let's say this is my simple queue. I will call it Mule queue. Enter, and that's my queue which has been created. And this is all running on my local machine. You can see here I have the queue URL provided to me, and now I can also list all the queues. So AWS SQS list queues. So it should give me exactly the queue which I have just created. I could go even for the second queue and list it again. So I should have now two queue URLs, which is fine here. And I can also send message if I want using the command line, but I'm not going to do it. I will do this now with my Mule connector. So let's go into MuleSoft, Anypoint Studio, create a new project. I will say this is set AWS SQS demo. We do it with LocalStack. So it's LocalStack AWS SQS demo. So that's it. And now what I will do, I will just add a simple listener here. And this listener is configured to, first of all, show me all the queues. So let's add a simple configuration here. Okay, so my listener is configured, and I will say list queues is my path for this listener, and I will add a module called AWS SQS. Either drag and drop from here, or you can go here into AWS, search for it, and you should see the SQS here. No, stop there. So let's go for SQS. So here Amazon SQS connector, finish, then you have it here. And now what you can do as a first step is you can configure it. So let's say SQS. So what you need to provide here as access key is the same which you have entered in the AWS configure, right? And as the connector is now always pointing to the real endpoint into the cloud of AWS, you have here the advanced tab. This is super important, where you can enter here a custom service, which is here custom SQS endpoint, and I want my custom SQS endpoint to be on the port where my local stack is running. Do a test connection. It should basically pass. This is fine. And okay, so that's it. And now what I can do is I can first of all say one method is list queues, and after list queues I would like to just transform the message into JSON so I can see it what the queues or what queues exist currently. So let's say payload simple, so and save it here. So this is just for listing all the queues which are part of this configuration. The next one which I want to do is I would like to create a queue. So let's say here we go with create queue. The configuration remains, and again I can go here to the SQS queue manager and define here the queue name. So let's say this is AK Mule queue standard, or let's do here payload.name. Yeah, so I want to provide the queue as part of the payload name, and again the core should be transformed into JSON. So that's it. Payload, this is fine. Let me save it and we will just quickly run it here. It's running. Let me first stop the other instance which is running, and now rerun this one. Okay, so now we can see it's starting my app. So, and meanwhile I can go to Postman and enter here already. Let's say we have here first of all list queues should be with a dash. Let's quickly see. List queue is with a dash. If I fire this, you can see it's empty because with this instance I have not yet created a queue. This is just running for this session. Yeah, so I will now create the queue which I want from any point, and the queue is created based on the payload name. So let's go back here and enter here a new one which will be create queue. Let's see, listener is, yeah, that's fine. Create queue, and in the body I can just enter here name will be AK Mule queue. That's it. Let's see. So a queue has been created, and now if I go here I can see that the queue is created. If I want to add another queue, let's say this will be here queue 2 queue. So again it has been created here as well. I can even go further and now consume these queues. So let's do it with another listener, and what I will do now is I will just send message, and here I need to say send message. Just drag and drop here, and before sending message, as there is a specific format of the message you need to send, I will just put a transform message before and after. So before, you can see it will be Java, this is fine, Java, and body will be whatever. So what is the body is Amir Khan SQS demo for Mule. So that's it, and afterwards let me see, there is something on our page for the connector. There's a specific thing you have to enter for the SQS. There's the SQS connector. SQS connector is here. We have the example, and here this is how the body should look like. And what I'm doing here is I will just copy that the message is accordingly transformed like this. So, and if I want, I can provide the message even on the payload. So let's say this is payload, and here I can say message. So that's it. I need to just make sure that in the payload I have a message. So let's say we enter here again, localhost, send message. Is this the right one? Yeah, send message. And in the body, I will just enter a JSON which will say this is the message, and the message is hello local stack. So for instance, like this. Let me quickly verify. So this is fine. Payload message will be sent into the body, and I have here JSON, and everything which has been there will be as payload provided. This is fine. And I would also like to read the message. So let's also enter here read message. Read message. Again, I go here, go to read. And for read, I will say just one message, and I need to have a URL for my queue. Yeah, so I could provide, let's say, the URL even from the payload, queue URL, and then I will just transform the message like here, transform message. This should be also JSON payload, and that's it. I guess I'm fully sent. One message I want to read here, and here I'm just sending the message. So let's save it. It should be recompiling. Yes. And go to send message, hello stack, and I will also enter here while it's doing its thing, read message. So, and the message queue will be here. The URL we will just define. So let's say it is here. So this will be the queue URL. So queue URL is correct. Yes, and here we have the payload is also fine. Sending message, payload, yeah. So this is fine, and now we can run it from here. First of all, I'm sending a message to which queue? Is there a queue defined? No, the queue URL is missing here as well. So let me maybe also enter the queue URL here, which should be, let's go for a default one for now. So I will just take this one. So we are going to talk into the queue2. So this is my queue which I'm going to use. So, and I can also enter it here as well as here. Just save it. That should recompile everything. Okay, so this is fine. Now I am ready to send a message. So hello stack. A message is sent. I can see here, and now I will try to retrieve the message from this queue. So no URL defined. What is it? Read message, read messages maybe. Is it like this? Read message. Yeah. So S is too much. So let's do it again. And here you can see hello stack, local stack. If I send another message, let's say hello local stack for Mule, send the message, and if I try to retrieve it, so hello local stack for Mule. So this is how simple you can really make your or mock your AWS services locally with LocalStack and continue to build your Mule apps based on the same connectivity. Just make sure that the configuration is provided, and you can really speed up the development and testing instead of connecting directly to the cloud of AWS in the first place. So I can recommend this LocalStack solution. Super easy, super useful. You just need to have Docker installed locally, and then you are good to go. That's it. Thank you.